All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We are officially live. Feel free to drop in the comments where you are tuning in from. City, state, province, country, wherever in the world you're tuning in from. I'm excited to give you a little bit more insights and perspective on how to re-energize your teams, especially many of you feel like I got these teams and I feel like they never do anything. They're just not motivated. I don't know how to motivate them. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And it's frustrating. And then it affects your confidence because you bring somebody brand new in, and if they don't do anything, you're like, well, do I have the confidence to bring somebody else brand new in? What's wrong with me? What can I do? And then many times it's like, there's nothing wrong with me. What's wrong with them? They just don't get it. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insights and perspective based on my own experience. I know everybody's at a different level, new levels, new devils. And I'm going to share some stories of things that I've gone through that will absolutely help give you perspective as we go. So let's start right here from the very beginning. So we're going to go with this whole fun wake up and energize as we go. All right. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Make sure we get this here as we go through and give you guys all some perspective. There we go. Okay, we got it. So wake up and energize your unmotivated teams. Now there's a couple different things that you need to understand. First thing is I'm going to give you a little bit of my story. I'm going to intertwine that with some learning lessons for you. So my very first month in the network marketing profession, I absolutely smashed it. It was ignorance on fire. I just knew that I was part of a good company with good leadership, with products that worked, and I couldn't explain anything, but I knew the direction that I was headed. I knew the excitement that I had, and I had so much energy. It made people curious. It was contagious. And then I had negative growth for 4 straight months. I had negative growth for 4 straight months where I felt like, why? All I need to do is just have one person do what I did, and then I'll absolutely crush it. That's it. Why can't I have one person do what I did? And I went into this massive management mode. And I was trying to get people to do what I once did, not what I was currently doing. And it absolutely crushed my business. It was a great learning lesson because I was always taught to stay out of management mode. I was always taught speed of leader, speed of the pack. I was always taught all these cliches, but they obviously didn't resonate enough with me, and I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn through experience. Now, you got to remember this before we go into this. Some of you have heard this quote before, and some of you haven't, but remember, it's easier to give birth than to resurrect the dead. Now, that doesn't mean that you give up on the old, but you match their energy. You don't make them your focus. You focus on those that deserve your time. Let me give you some perspective here. As much as you say you want it for them, and trust me, I know, it was really hard for me to have family members and friends quit and people that I cared about so much. But as much as you care about them, again, I'm going to go extreme with this example. How would the $1 million version of you act? Meaning, if you were making, extreme example, $1 million a year, do you think you would be reaching out to Betsy? Let's say Betsy. She's the person you just thought was going to be a superstar. She knows everyone. She can't keep her mouth shut. She's just the person that's talking to everybody on the airplane, at the grocery store. And so if you were making $1 million a year, I know this is an obscene extreme example, but I'm trying to make a point here. That's why I'm doing that. Would you, okay, I think this is important to understand, would you specifically reach out to Betsy after 6 months of her doing nothing? Still reach out to her every 4 or 5 days. I don't care if she's a family member. I don't care if she's your bestie. There's no way. And maybe you're the exception. You're like, Rob, I'm different. There's no way you're reaching out to Betsy. There's no way you're like, hey, girl, I know you haven't done anything in 6 months and I'm crushing it, but how can I help you? What can I do? Yeah, sure, if they're a really close friend or family member every once in a while. But actually what you're going to do is you're going to say, look, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know how to do this. I know you can do this. And I know it's 100% worth it for you. When you are ready, I'm here to help you. Now, look, I'm not telling you that you're there yet. I'm not telling you that you feel like you got that type of confidence and swag yet, but you need to start acting like that version now. You need to act as if now, if you want to become. It's not one day when I'm there, I'm going to act like that. No, in order to act like that and become like that, you need to start acting like that now. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So you need to understand that concept, because too many are managing the same people over and over and over and over again. And they say it's because they want it so bad for them. But in reality, it's because deep down, they would rather manage the current people they have than talk to brand new people. Now, some of you are like, well, this isn't what I wanted to hear. Where's the training on how to energize my unmotivated teams? Hey, we're going there. I just got to set the tone, because you know me. I don't give any fluff. I'm going to give you straight to the point. I'm going to give you things that actually work. I'm going to give you things that I've actually been through, not just theories and ideas or anything like that. I've built both online. I've built offline. Yes, now I'm 100% generic coach, right? Speaker and author. Hopefully, who has all three of these books? That's my question. Recruit Your Way to Six Figures. You got to put the number 6. So you could do recruityourwayto6figures.com. You got to put the 6. Or you could do thegameofconquering.com. This one actually has all three. And then The Game of Networking was the original. And I'm working on 2 new ones right now. Another book collab like this, and then another one like this, but The Game of Conquering, Game of Networking. We'll have the game of, we'll see who's got all 3, who's in the all 3 club. We should name that. So let's get into these strategies. Strategy number 1, pick your spots. Find when you've got a good promotion going on. You want an excuse to reach out. You want an excuse why it's different for them now. You don't want to just constantly just bombard, reach out. Look, you got to make sure you're spending your time with the people that are putting you in front of new people, the people that are plugging you in. Some of you have heard my training on there's needers, wanters, and deservers. The needers, I need your time so bad, I need. And then there's the wanters, I want it. And then there's the deservers that are actually performing. And you think, I'm a recovering people pleaser. You think as a people pleaser, when you're spending all this time with the needers and wanters, you're so supportive. But in the end, you're taking away time from the deservers, and you're actually creating less of an impact on the world, less of an impact on your legacy, less of an impact on your influence, less of an impact on creating that residual income. And so you got to spend your time with the deservers. But when I'm reaching back out to maybe some of these people that signed up that haven't done anything at all, I'm not going to spend a ton of time there. Hopefully you've got, your Facebook group they're plugged into. Maybe every so often you're shooting a text. Maybe they're part of a group chat. But I'm going to pick my spots when I am going to try to resurrect the dead, when I am going to try to get them excited and motivated. And I've seen this work. Nothing's foolproof, right? Each person's a little bit different. Their situation's different. But maybe things have changed for them. So I'm going to pick my spot when I feel like there's something new, something different, brand new product launch, brand new promo, brand new, right? Maybe it's brand new promo for customers. Maybe it's just an excuse. That's all we're looking for, is an excuse. So that's strategy number 1. We're going to go through 5 strategies here, and you're going to figure out what works best for you. So we said new promos, number 1. I talked a little bit about products. I went a little bit ahead as far as we go. That's number 2, is new product launch. So again, it's another great excuse, right? We just had this new product that's going to help you jump higher and maybe even fly. It's a secret ingredient that comes from the Himalayas that grew during a full moon that a sheep peed on, and it's incredible. I know, I'm just having a little bit of fun, exaggerating a little bit, but you got a new product launch, you got a new ingredient, you got a new something, right? What we want to do is we want to look for the excuse. And notice I put in here the credible excuse on why they should get engaged in the business. That's all you're doing, is looking for excuses that make logical sense to them. Strategy number 3, the relaunch strategy session. You're going to reach out and you're not going to make them feel guilty. So I say things like this: I know you've been busy. I want to relate and understand them, instead of saying, hey, how come you never get back to me? How come you never done anything? That's not going to help. Don't guilt them. So what I do is I give them an out. I know you have been busy. Then I follow with something like, I know you had several goals, right? So you could say, I know you had several goals in this business, but life just, you got really busy with life. Totally understand, right? You say it with your own words, your own terminology. And then I break it down in a simple way. My whole goal is to be able to do a Zoom session. Now, maybe it's only 10 minutes, but I want to get on a Zoom and I want to do a strategy session. And when I do a relaunch strategy session, number one, I'm going to remind them of why they were excited. This is the most important thing, because all of our decisions begin with our vision. Think about that. If your vision is, I'm going to work X amount of hours, like for example, some of you network marketing, you feel like is pretty easy. Some of you are like, this is so hard, but it's so worth it. So regardless, let's say you're one of those people you think it's really hard. If I were to tell you had to make 100 new contacts every day, I know that's a lot, right? You're just like, how, what? And I guaranteed you after, I know I can't guarantee, but let's just say I did. I guaranteed you after 2 months that you would make $10,000 for the rest of your life. I'm pretty sure you'd do it because your vision would be so clear, right? And so for you, you got to understand that for them as well is we've got to remind them of why they're excited, give them a clear vision that it's worth it and they can do it. It's worth it, they can do it. It's worth it, they can do it. And I do that by breaking things down. I make things just extremely simple for them, right? Hey, look, I know you were crazy busy. I got a little bit more time than you. I know exactly what I'm doing. I've done this. So let me leverage your time. Why don't we start strategizing? Who are the 3 people you feel like that would do you a favor? And let's create 3 more. Who are the 3 people you feel like are the most successful? All you need to do is just make an introduction. I'll plug them in the system and I'll help leverage it. And then you'll find what happens is if you can get them to take small bite-sized action, they start seeing more success, they magically, all of a sudden have a little bit more time. Strategy number 4, create new momentum. Now, what do I mean by create new momentum? Look, you can tell them how things are different. You can tell them how there's new promos and products and how everything's so great. And that's absolutely a strategy as we went over. But this strategy right now is now you're showing them. It's the whole don't tell me, show me. It's the quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. What you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say. So think about this. Think about the confidence and the tone in your voice and the passion and the energy when, again, I go extreme examples because this is something, I was a tennis coach. And we always were taught to over-exaggerate principles and concepts to make a point so people can learn. And so I'm doing the same thing for all of you. This is an extreme example, but let's say that you just signed up 20 brand new people last month and they brought in, 80 people total between them. You got 100 new people. Are you kidding me? Number one, that energy you have is going to be transferred. People just can feel it. They can sense it. Number 2 is now you can talk with a different type of confidence and show them, right? They're getting on. It's like not the same old people. This thing's going with or without me. So it adds a new sense of credibility, validity. It adds a new sense of energy. And again, we know it's easier to give birth and resurrect the dead. And too many of us are so focused on resurrect the dead. And that's why I want to teach you on when, how, and why you should or shouldn't. So this strategy number 5, get them to events. Now, depending on what's going on, right? I mean, we had the huge thing with COVID. Sometimes that can be a little bit hard. And so getting them to events, yeah, it could be virtual events and different things like that. There is no substitute for physical events, but you just got to make do with whatever you can. So if that's not an option, then you go through the first 4 strategies. If it is an option, then of course you're doing your best for them to get there because leaders are born at events. There's just something different. There's something magical I can't even explain. I remember my first big events. I'm like, I don't need to go. I don't need the rah-rah. I don't need the cheerleading. I don't need that crap is literally was my perspective. And my mentor was like, yes, you do. And I went there and it changed me. There's just something about seeing other people, like-minded people with the same goals and aspirations. And then you see people walk across the stage and share their stories. And some people you're like, if they can do it, I can do it. And other people walk by and you're like, wow, they're way further ahead in their lives and their personal development than me, and I aspire to be like them. But either way, I promise you it makes a huge difference as you go. So remember this. Remember to walk with the walkers, jog with the joggers, sprint with the sprinters. Time is the most precious thing we have on this earth. I'm going to say that again. Time is the most precious thing we have on this earth. And how you spend and utilize that time makes all the difference. Think about that. Billionaires don't work harder than millionaires. Millionaires don't work harder than six-figure earners. Six-figure earners don't work harder than a lot of people that make minimum wage. So in your business, it's not just about how hard you're working. It's how you're spending that time. It's how you're focusing that time. And I get it. And I know you want the duplication and all these things, but I promise you, as you create new momentum, that's going to be the best duplication. That's going to be you learning, because that means you're talking to brand new people. And that means you're also understanding the concept and principles that amateurs convince, experts sift and sort. Are you an amateur or are you an expert? And some of you are like, I'm an amateur, but if you want to become an expert, you need to start acting as if. So I did this at the very beginning. I literally started acting as if. What would the $1 million version of me act like? I started talking like that, walking like that. I started having that posture, that tone. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't do the whole fake it until you make it and pretend like my check was 10 times higher than it was. No. But how I acted, talked, walked, and my confidence was that of a $1 million earner well before. To the point of my 10th month in this profession, I get the highest rank in a multi-billion-dollar company. And when I hit it, it wasn't even joy or excitement. I know that sounds wrong, but in my mind, I felt like I had reached that level long time ago, meaning months and months and months before. I felt like I'd hit it after month 5. So when after month 10, I was like, yeah, it's about time. This is where I've been. And so you've got to understand that compensation always catches up to skill set and effort, but it's almost always massively delayed. That's why I always say the test before the testimony, the struggle before the story, the mess before the message. But you've got to make sure you're focused on overcoming and creating that success story, because you can make money or make excuses, but you can't do both as you go. So that is the simple message for you. This is a simple message for your teams to help them to have more success as well. This is a simple message to help you to have more focus on how to motivate and energize those that are not motivated at all, because I want you to have less time for being frustrated with others. They've shown you who they are. Now it's time for you to focus, and it's time for you to spend your time wisely instead of trying to get them to do what they're unwilling to do. And you got to pick your spots as I showed you and utilize this strategy. And I promise you it will make a huge difference. So thank you as always for tuning in. My goal is to elevate this profession and consistently provide value to help you to crush your network marketing business.